What is going on, YouTube? I'm your West host, and today we're going to be hopping into yet another team building in Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle for the new Legendary Goku event missions. Now, today I'm going to be talking about the Androids team, which is admittedly one of my favorite teams to run in the game, and I'm going to be looking at some different units that I think would be very crucial and helpful to it, as well as a cheeky way to complete two of these at once. So I'll get to that at the end, but while we're starting, let's go ahead and hop on in. So if you look, the Androids team has probably the most category leaders of any category out there. They have 4 dedicated category leaders as well as 3 individual technically sub-leaders. So starting off, one of the units you're definitely going to want to run is this Android 13. His defensive prowess is fantastic. He's a good support in the beginning, but realistically, you don't need support in the beginning of the Legendary Goku event. It's very easy. When he transforms, he usually sits at about around 160k defense unsupported, higher if he's next to this guy right here. And all in all, his ability to connect attacks, as long as you're facing a Goku enemy, I think he crits. Let me pull it up real quick. I want to make sure. But while I'm just talking about how good he is, I am blown away at the quality of this unit, especially after he transforms. I thought it would load. Wonder, do I need to go right here? Oh, I think I clicked on no? Okay. So when he transforms, he gets attack and defense plus 130%, and then another attack and defense plus 13 per target Goku or ally on the team. There are a ton of target Goku allies on the target Goku team, especially the ones you're going to be bringing into this event. 2 of them in particular. So his defense sits very high. His attacks are always guaranteed to hit, and yeah, he does crit whenever he's facing a Goku enemy. So he's really good. It's a little bit of a hindrance because he's going to expedite the speed at which you're going to go through, and as I've said previously, when in doubt, you want to go slow on this event. However, the amount of offensive and defensive prowess that he brings to the table cannot be overstated. The next unit that's really good is this guy right here. Let's go ahead and pull him up real quick. We can close that out. I really like him, though I will say, as much as I love him, he is the second best Android 17 for this event. Now, if you don't have Fusion Android 13, or if you don't have the LR Androids, I really recommend this guy. He's probably the best. However, if you have another leader option, bring them instead. So if we look at him, attack at 120% when performing a super attack is good. Key 3 and defense plus 60 to all allies is solid, and then the damage reduction when the 77% or below. For some reason, I thought his damage reduction was way higher when it was 77% or below. I thought it was like a 70%. But I will say that damage reduction combined with his 60% defense domestic is really nice. He does lower attack and defense. That's not necessarily helpful in the Legendary Goku event, especially not on the teams he's on. The only thing realistically super attack effect wise that's useful is stacking or lowering defense if you've got a counter unit on your team. Aside from that, no other effects really apply to UI Goku. So kind of a bummer there. His links are really good. He supports the team. He's really nice. All in all, a great unit. Just not the best, but we'll get to that one in a minute. Next, you have the LR Androids, who are fantastic. I don't have to go into them. They're a summonable LR. They're a new summonable LR, and they just do wonderful things. You can pop out 16 against SGR UI Goku if you're lucky, and that's really probably the best time to bring them out. Aside from that, they're type effective, so they're going to reduce damage taken. They're 150% across the board, and I believe 4 key. Let me just make sure real quick. Yeah, 4 key and 150. So they're good. They're just really good. Then you have 21. Don't bring her. I feel really bad about Android 21 for a couple reasons. When she was first announced was in V-Jump, and she was the main focus. They were doing a Dokkan and Fighters crossover, and it was going to be huge. 21 looked to be very prominent. It was the hype, and then when we got the data download, we were all very surprised because this Android 17 was actually the Dokkan Fest exclusive. instead of 21. And while at first it wasn't an issue, 21's defense, especially after transforming, and her offense are both very impressive. She has aged much worse comparatively, and while she does have value, she is a healer. Her transformation is cool. She does lead one of the most fun teams in the game. She's definitely slacked off a bit in terms of quality. I think even after she transforms, for me, she usually sits around the 96k mark, which is just not great for a unit like her. So I would leave her at home, but that's up to y'all. The next couple leaders, you won't use any of these for sub leaders. These two are terrible. This one you will bring, but I'll get to him in a minute. In terms of LRs, the big one you want to bring is this LR Incel. He is crucial to this run. That full heal when you dip below 30% is really impactful in a Legendary Goku event environment. It can be impactful in something like Super Battle Road, but a lot less so is what I found compared to the Legendary Goku event. But obviously, you're going to have it happen in Super Battle Road quite a good bit, so don't want to diminish that value. The LR androids are good, as I've mentioned before. An LR physical cell I really like. He's not the best option, considering he sits at about 125k with Big Bad Bosses active, at least at, I think mine's at 69%. However, I will say that in the final stage of the event, he's going to be great. You're just really going to have to babysit him next to that STRUI Goku. So be careful with how you play it, and you could do pretty well. As we're moving along, let's look at some options here. We've talked about him. This AGL Cell Jr. card is good offensively. However, defensively, I find him to be a bit of a liability. So I wouldn't recommend necessarily bringing him. Android 18 really doesn't have any great cards, especially for this event. She's got some decent ones. Like this card is good. Objectively, the Peppy Gals one is good. The Tournament of Power one is good. However, I just can't. She doesn't have anything that's great. The closest one she has is this one, who gets like 150% across the board when you pair up next to an Android 17 unit, and she does change orbs and infinitely stack attack, but I'll be honest, infinitely stacking attack is not that great if it's a single raise. It just doesn't translate into a ton of damage. So she's good, but I don't know. I'm just not a huge fan. Super 17 you'd think would be great defensively, but his lack of domestic defense really makes him a liability. 40% damage mitigation and not having type advantage through most of the fight really puts him at a disadvantage. You know, up against STRUI Goku, I think he's going to end up still taking about 20-ish K per normal attack, and then Int UI Goku is going to be closer to 40. Now, damage reduction does help to normalize the damage you take during super attacks because of the way damage reduction versus defense works in this game. However, I just can't recommend running him until he gets his easy A. This guy is not great. I did rainbow him because I expect him to easy A at some point in the far distant future, and then the LR androids you want to leave. This guy is good. He's probably one of the better defensive tech options for this event. I don't mind him whatsoever if you want to bring him. He'll do pretty good. He gets his guard activated at a pretty reasonable clip. And his extra defense per android's units, that's going to pop up pretty regularly. So I'd keep him off rotation, but he's not a bad option. This guy is crucial because he pairs with her right here, and they become a defensive juggernaut. They infinitely stack, I believe it's attack and defense. They give each other a bunch of buffs. Let's see what they get when they're next to each other. I know that the 18 gets an extra chance to dodge, if I'm not correct. So he gets 70% plus an additional 70% and a medium chance of performing a critical hit. That's good. That's 140% attack and defense plus a chance of performing a crit, where she gets, I think, the same thing except it's dodge. Yeah. So they're fantastic. They are built for this type of event. So I highly recommend bringing those two together. That's a rotation to run because most of the event is flip-flopping between tech and AGL. So you can run this guy in front of all the AGL units and let her super, and after she supers, she's usually pretty good. So these two are a rotation you want to run, and they're free to play, so you can rainbow them. I think this guy's rainbowed, and I ran out of strength orbs for her, so she's like 36%, but I know she's going to get the job done, so I'm not worried about it. In terms of tech units, that's really the only ones I would recommend running. You could run this Android 16, but I hate him. so I wouldn't recommend it. He only has, I think, what is it, defense plus 100% unless you've got a Gohan on the team. It's really bad, I remember that. No, attack and defense plus 100% and a chance of guarding, but that's not enough. If he has his guard active, yes, he can mitigate a lot of damage, but he will get you killed towards the end. Don't bring her. This is just the TUR. GT Angel Cell's not that great anymore. This guy, what is he? I think it's like attack and defense plus 90% or something like that. Oh, attack plus 90%. Yeah, leave him. This guy after Easy A's, I think he becomes a support type. I know he's an orb changer, which is not bad. So let's do this. Yeah, attack and defense plus 50%, and then attack and defense plus 13. So he'd be doing pretty good. I guess, what's his defense domestically? It's 1136. So he can get up to what? Attack and defense plus 13% times 7 is, what, 91? So 140. I mean, he's probably doing pretty good defensively. I bet he'll sit at a reasonable rate, but I don't know if I'd bring him. He's still only going to be like, what, 90k, maybe 100, so not the best. This int cell is really good. You know, as much as I was just getting on him for sitting at 100k, this guy sitting at 100k isn't terrible, because whoop, I didn't mean to. Okay, whatever. Let's see, after he's Extreme Z Awakened. He's got a 90% attack and defense, and he recovers 20% HP when HP is 30% or below. That's going to happen frequently in the Legendary Goku event. You're going to be sitting at that clip, and it's going to happen. He's also got a really good link set. If I'm not mistaken, I think one of his links, do they heal? Maybe I'm crazy. No, okay, they don't. But he does really well. Greatly raising attack is much better than actually just raising attack. You'll see his offensive prowess skyrocket as time goes on. So I like running him. He's the int cell, or he's the like perfect cell that I would bring, because I'm not going to bring you. You're defensively a huge liability. So I like him a lot. This Android 18, if you've got dupes in her and you've awakened her, she's not bad. So let's go ahead and pull up her Extreme Z Awakening. She's going to get up to 150% attack and defense if 17's are on rotation. She does reduce damage by 18%. That's good. It's not great, but it works out. The main problem is that where the Android 17 stacks defense, she raises attack. So good, just not exceptional. You can bring her, and if I had dupes in her, I would bring her. I just don't, and I've only got her at 55%, which is unfortunate. Looking further on, this guy is great, but he shares a name with a much better unit. He's only great because he raises attack and defense. Any unit that stacks is valuable in this game, and also I think he gets attack and defense plus 130%. So you raise his super attack up, he's gonna be looking pretty good. This Android 18 is fantastic, and this Android 17 is fantastic, so either of them are amazing units to bring. This is my first SSR in the game, and I love him, and he became amazing for this. This cell is also a fantastic option as long as you can get, I think it's 12 key, no, any of them. Okay, so either his 10 or 12 or 11 key raises attack and defense. So he's great to bring. His defense picks up pretty quick. 50% defense increase on a unit with, how much does he have? Oh, okay. No, okay. So he's got over 11,000 defense. So 50% is good enough. He's going to be doing pretty good. He also has I forgot he had the int LR cell mechanic where if you get extra orbs, he nukes. I've never actually pulled STR cell, and I really want to because he's exceptional, but I just never been able to get him. Coming down here, these guys are okay, but they're such a liability when you get in the later phases of the events because they only give themselves 70% defense, and it's just not great. They do get the extra attack and defense plus 70% when they're on rotation with Android 13, which happens. However, I just don't think their defense gets that high. Excuse me. Yeah, that's why. So their defense sits at 6,000 at Rainbow. So 140 defense is not anything to write home about. They do mitigate damage and become a support type unit when Fusion 13 is around, which isn't bad. They're not a terrible option just because of the way that they foresee super attacks for the entire fight, which can be very useful. It's just you have to kind of protect them, and you have to be careful of how many units you're bringing that you have to protect. So moving right along, we're getting into the SSRs. I don't think there's anything outstanding here. Yeah. You're not terrible when you Dokkan Awaken. I don't think we've got his Dokkan Awakening on global. Yeah, I don't think this guy... I don't think he's anything crazy. Yeah, high chance of evading attack and a support type. Yeah, you don't need him. Okay, yeah, that's going to be about it for this category, so... ooh, actually, wait, no, you, I believe, infinitely stacked defense. Yeah, he greatly... Okay, so yeah, Mira is a good option. This guy would be a good idea if you don't have anything great. I don't know how he's going to link up with Fear and Faith, because I don't think most of the Android category has Fear and Faith. We'll go ahead and pull it up real quick. See if he's going to link. Yeah, nothing crazy there. 13. Okay, the 13 has it. That's good. Okay, you have it. Okay, that's good. Okay, so he could be... Oh, you've got it. Yeah. Okay. Okay, I feel more comfortable recommending running Mira if you've got him. I think it's Mira. Yeah, it's Mira. Okay. I recommend him. This guy would be good with an Awakening, depending on what he does, and then now we're getting to SRs. So that's going to be about it. Those are the units that I'd really recommend running. So now let's talk about my cheeky team that I like to run, which is an Android Cell Saga and an Androids team, so you can clear 2 of those missions at once. It's very easy to run. All you do is you use a double int LR cell leader, which is fantastic. He is great for this event. His defense domestically sits, or sorry, not domestically, but normally sits at about 100k before transforming. I think you can get up to like 120, so that's really good. This guy stacks defense and is incredible. These two work really well together. They stack attack and defense, so they're incredible, and they're free to play. I'm going to bring him. You could bring, like, instead of him, you could bring the physical LR androids, which would also be a fantastic option. Anything else from the Cell Saga? I didn't think I saw anything else that I'd really want to bring. I mean, you always could. So you could bring her after her EZA, but I don't know. I think this team build's pretty good. So, either of these two are great. This cell heals you, which is really nice. He also links up with all the other cell units really good. This is a fantastic support type unit that also, has a pretty good defensive quality. Plus, they've got type advantage against the last phase in the event, so that's important. So they're solid. Plus, when 16 comes out, he's amazing. Then you have these two. So this is definitely the cell to bring if you've got him. STR Perfect Cell, after his EZA, is fantastic. So he stacks attack and defense the entire time. So he's very useful in that capacity. He's going to be taking basically nothing. He can heal you if I'm not mistaken. And he's going to link up incredibly well with the other cell units on rotation, which is really important. The main problem is he's going to get key hungry if you put these two next to each other. However, if you put him next to Android 17, who's creating orbs, you'll be good to go. This guy is the one I'm bringing. His defense isn't fantastic, but his chance to heal you is really helpful. He, at rainbow level, sits like just at the 100k threshold. I think it's like 99.3 something. So he's useful, in my opinion. I like running him a lot. He's not the best, but if I'm going to babysit one unit, I can babysit this guy and kind of make sure he's okay. These two, by the time you get to Tech Goku, they'll be sitting around 180k defense if you play it correctly. This guy will be well past 200, and he'll just skyrocket defense. He becomes a defensive juggernaut as the fight goes on. I mean, he doesn't have a problem, and he'd be even better, like I said, if I was running this character with him, which I'm really tempted to try and bring her. Because she does have some damage reduction. it's just her defense is not going to be high enough to get it done, I don't think. But I'll play around with it and see. But like I said, if you ran some form of this team, so him is your leader, these two is a rotation because they're fantastic. This guy, maybe her. One of these cells and one of these, you're easily clear both those missions at once. So I think it is going to be very easy for these two teams. I think not a lot of people have prepared Android teams because not a lot of people run Android teams. I'm one of the few defenders of the Androids, but they're a really, really cool team, and I like them a lot. So I highly recommend, if you've been playing, target this team as a team to watch out for and to summon for on occasion. But that's going to wrap it up here. That was my advice. If you have any questions about different characters and things, please make sure to leave them in the comments below. I will get back to them. But like we say here on this channel, I hope to see you around sometime.